How are you doing?
How you doing? How you doing, Paula?
I am very good.
Good, good, good. Is my audio okay? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you well.
Okay.
Is my lighting good enough? I mean,
Yes. Yes.
it's
No,
okay.
you're fine. You're fine. You're fine. Look, I appreciate it. It's late. I know it's late. It's a work day. I appreciate you taking the time. We're live right now on YouTube. I have Paula Hurlock. I'm pronouncing it correct, right?
Yes, you are.
Now, Paula Hurlock, and I read that you are a wisdom keeper, grid keeper, essential coach. But because I also read that you don't really like labels, so I'll let you introduce yourself real quick for the audience.
You know what? I just go with the name for now until it becomes irrelevant. But I'm Paula Hurlock. I'm from Jamaica, and I'm just on this journey of healing, not just myself, but all the people around me, and as many people on the planet that need this kind of healing now and awareness so that we can all shift, because we need to be a little bit more intentional about what we do and what we think and how we operate so that we can move towards our balance.
Yeah, I know. I know. Listening to you is hard to not, just keep going. Like, okay, let me hear the next video. You definitely know what you're talking about, and so I want to know, when did you realize this was your purpose? At what point did it just hit you? This is what I need to be doing.
I think it hit me during the pandemic when I realized how hopeless everybody felt being locked in, not being able to go outside, not being able to go freely where they wanted to. And people were, for the first time, faced with themselves, with their own company. No external stimuli to distract them. No partying, no clubbing, no hanging out, no driving, no flying all over. You just were now in your home with yourself. And that really affected many people. And, I thought it was important to just help people to relax and start to listen to themselves and value their own company. And if needs be, go outside and just be in nature just to ground and connect, with divine source. Before the pandemic, the pace was so fast that nobody would even think of it. So it was kind of good that we had to slow down and watch nature revert back to its natural state. And also, we reverted back to our natural state because we were not traveling on mass transport. We were not going to clubs. We were not going to, big malls and so on. So our selves became more, the most potent version of ourselves started to emerge. So that's when I realized what my purpose was, really getting people to get calm and listen to their minds, listen to themselves.
Yeah, all of a sudden people found out that they're probably not as happy as they thought they were.
That's it.
And so, what did you find yourself having them think about, or was they thinking about nothing? Did you have them focus on something? I know I see a lot of spiritual in your content. What did you have them focus
Yeah, I think what I had people focusing on was the fact that they were not doing anything to nourish their spirit anymore. They weren't spending time in nature anymore. They were just in a concrete house, in concrete walls, in artificial clothes and shoes, and not really even taking the time to go outside and be in silence, listen to the birds sing, put their feet on the ground, take a walk, you know? And I think for me also, because we were forbidden from, going here and going there, we ended up going, to the riverside and could do it, going to the beach and going for hikes. And that's when, you know, I saw people at their happiest and their calmest. So it was an opportunity for me to share that as a reminder to other people who never even had an idea that that could possibly be what was wrong or what was lacking in their lives.
Right.
at that time.
Right.
So yeah.
And I see that. Can we talk about the Bible a little bit? If can we talk about the Bible a little bit? I see that I saw a video that you posted because I feel like honestly, Paula, I feel like a lot of people's hesitation with the Bible is because they just don't understand it. They haven't heard the right message, and I'm sure there's some people who don't want to understand it because they probably just don't want to turn over. But I feel like a lot of people think it's so hard to do when in
Yeah.
reality it's not. Um,
Yeah.
can you explain to people how do you get to God's kingdom?
Okay, well, I think it's an inner journey. It's definitely not external, and it's definitely not through man's ideas of how you should get there. So I'm going to be very controversial here and tell you or say that there are aspects, well, most aspects of the Bible are man-made interpretation. And I know people are going to say, but yes, the divine word was given to these special men. Um, how do we know that there were not distortions? And people are going to say, but the Lord wouldn't make there be distortions. No, he wouldn't. But man would, right? Now, I think one of the reasons why the Bible is really truly useful is because there are lots of truths in it and a lot of fundamental principles um once followed will guide you to the kingdom. And the kingdom is really within. Now, one of the things that I want people to do some research on are the 42 laws of Ma'at, because what it is said is that the Greeks and the Romans, when they went into the African continent, took some of these written laws and repackaged them and presented them to the West. So I don't want to be any more controversial. What I want people to do is to do their research on the Bible and its origins, right? Because we have to come to terms, and this is very difficult for many people to come to terms with. We have to come to terms with the fact that man has intervened in many ways in order to manipulate the masses. So they've also, I would say, messed with the Bible so that it reads in a way, listen, follow me, that will allow the masses to be controlled. So, for example, I'm from Jamaica, you're from North America. There was a slave Bible that justified slavery and being humble and working hard, right? And there are other things like that are placed in the Bible to make us not question things and to make us not feel empowered, but to look outside of ourselves for help. You understand? But let's go back to the kingdom. The kingdom of God is within us. God is within us. God is all around us. It's not in a church. He will not reward you more if you tithe. He will not. It's not conditional. His love is unconditional. And all that is required is that you be a good person to yourself, to your family, and to other people. In the Bible, it says, do unto others as you would have them to do unto you. Those are some fundamental principles that we can live by. You know, um, we must just be careful not to be looking up to church leaders, because
That's
church leaders, we are seeing now, the results are coming out. Some church leaders speak one thing and they're doing another. Am I lying?
Well, that you can say that about, let's just call it what it is, Paula. You can say that about almost every leader. You
Yes.
really
Yes.
shouldn't look up to any human leader
That's
anyway,
right.
because we're all flawed. So once you
Yes.
start putting any human on a different type of a pedestal, you're only going to get let down because that person is not
Beautiful.
perfect.
Beautiful. And I love how you put that. When we are doing the right thing and acting in the right way, then we don't need to look up to anyone. We look within to find God and be guided by God within. That's how I see it.
You said something interesting, and I get what you're saying. The Bible, and I know there's all these versions and all this stuff, but I know what you're saying. The Bible is, you got to understand that man has touched the Bible, and all that good stuff. I do understand that, but I do believe that you can read the Bible, the Holy Bible, the I don't know all the versions, but and you can get out of the Old and the New Testament. You can read the Old and New Testament, and you can get how to get what God's
The
path
nugget.
is to
Yes.
God's kingdom, right? I feel
Yes.
like you can get that out of that. It's not the Ten Commandments, right? It's not.
Right. Right.
It's believing in the good news and loving people, essentially. Like you said, it's about being good, but you also gotta. I believe, and you let me know if I'm wrong. I also believe you have to be good, but you also have to believe in the good news. Am I right when it comes to that?
Well, yes, it speaks to being having a positive outlook and envisioning the best for yourself and for humanity at all times. If you have a terrible outlook, I should have switched my phone on to do not disturb.
Oh, you
So a
good? You good?
call has been coming in just now. But if you keep your mind in a buoyant, optimistic way, and you spend the time in silence and reflection and connection to divine source God, you will be guided as to what to do and how to be. And that's what I'm talking about. We don't need, once the fundamental principles are outlined and we get them, we don't need to go to a, a place every Sunday for the rest of our lives to get the good word. We really should have cultivated something within us so that if we can't get to that beautiful building with our congregants, we would still be able to maintain our core, our center, right? And if we just connect with three or four or more, where the Bible says, where two or three or more are gathered, there also am I. So there is power in numbers. There is an amplification in faith once we come together. And so I think that that's the most important factor to bear in mind. What I'm seeing and what I'm observing is that people are too caught up with religious dogma. And I'm calling it out here because I am seeing where it's becoming a destructive element, where people are not doing the proper research. They go to a church, they listen to a person and their interpretation of the Bible, and they hold on to it. They don't do enough research, and people need to do research. When it comes to the Bible, I'll always say this. King James, one of the versions of the Bible, he was also the author of some satanic books. Did you know that?
No, I did not.
Right. So you need to do the research. So my issue with the Bible is that there may have been subtle insertions to lead us astray. Why would anybody want to lead us astray? So they can control us.
Here's where I think the conversation is going to get real good. because I understand that, but I do want you to put something in, point out something, point out some things in the Bible that you feel cause people to go astray. Because again, remember I said there's an Old Testament and a New Testament, and there
Mhm.
are a lot of people who still only know the Old Testament. There's people who still believe, oh no, I don't believe in that Bible because these 10 rules. You really think I have to, like, they believe that? Well, no, that's not necessary. So if you may, can you point out some things in the Bible that you think are kind of,
Misleading.
yes.
All right. The one that comes to mind quickest is the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. The virgin birth. Um, the and this is not in the Bible, but December 25th, that's Christmas.
Right.
It's practiced by Christians. We have no proof of December 25th. We do have some proof of the crucifixion, so I wouldn't question that one. But the whole Christmas um, celebration, that is not even biblical at all. Yet it is practiced within the Christian faith, right? Other things like there are parts in the New Testament. It reads like Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, Jesus, and all of them were together out in the towns walking together. When the proof exists that there was at least 60 to 100 years separation between when one disciple or apostle lived and when the other lived. That's coming out now. So I don't know if you remember when during the pandemic how there was a narrative that was running. All the radio stations, all the television stations were reading from the same script. I don't know if you remember that.
Not specifically.
Right. But there was. And that script, when we look back at that script now, there were lots of erroneous and misleading statements that were being spoken as a matter of fact for the population to take a certain action. Remember? My point, therefore, is we actually had the opportunity between 2020 and 2023 to watch how a narrative could be shifted to get the population to act in a certain way. And so when the persons who curated the Bible, this particular version, and canonized the different books, they selected the books based on what they wanted the message to the masses to be. Do you understand? So there were things that were important to them at the time. Remember, there was a shift from a matriarchal to a patriarchal society. So they removed all the major females from the books and put only the males. So there was a lot of distortion in the Council of Nicaea. A bunch of Romans and Greeks actually decided which ones to keep in and which ones to throw out. And so these are things that anybody who is listening, go and read on the Council of Nicaea and see how they decided which books to put in and which books not to put in, right? Look at who canonized what books for the Bible and so on. Do that research. It's a big, long research, and most of us are too lazy to do it.
Well, no, it's not that, Paula. But here's what happens. Here's what happens, Paula.
My
And
grandmother
I'm
and
not
my
saying
mother
you're
went to this
obviously
church.
not wrong. because there's all these versions of the Bible. I mean, it had to be put together in some kind of way, right? So you're not wrong, but I can read the Bible. I don't know if it's the main one, but I can read the one that I guess I understand, the Holy Bible, and I don't feel like it's called. I feel like it's pretty clean. It's pretty clear.
It
Now,
is clear. There's
at
certain.
the same time, if I'm going to teach if I'm going to teach and educate, I got to know what Paula knows, because I can't let history be, and mixed up in all these kind of ways. But just for the purposes of spreading the good news, right, and making the world a better place, I do feel like the Bible does that. You know what I mean?
All right. So can I make a statement that's probably gonna hurt your feelings just a little?
Yeah. We got a viewer, so don't hurt that viewer's feelings either.
No, I won't. I won't offend anybody. I'm just stating the facts. I am from Jamaica. My forefathers were brought from West Africa through the transatlantic slave trade. They're now even questioning whether that even happened. And we were brought to this island. We had a different language, we had a different way of operating. And my forefathers were beaten and tortured to forget their language and to take the Bible and this new religion. Food was withheld from my forefathers if they refused. The same ones who gave me this new religion, my forefathers, this new religion, beat and tortured and raped my mothers and grandmothers and baby girls, right? So I, as a Black woman, question why so much violence would have to be attached to the good word, and why it is that my people were told to discard their thing and adopt this thing. There is a geopolitical basis for how this man-made religion was thrust upon the world, and I'm not condemning Christianity, Islam, or anything. I just know that there are some fundamental principles that the Christ, Jesus Christ, was a real person. He did live, and he came to impart certain fundamental principles. But after he left, the principles were distorted, and the manner of delivery was also distorted and forced upon people. Same thing happens with Islam. There was an Arabic slave trade before even the transatlantic, and the people from the Middle East came into certain parts of Africa and chained thousands of men together and beat them to recite and learn and accept the Quran, deprived them of food, killed their women in front of them, and so on. My point is, even though the word is good, the origins and the manner in which it was forced upon many peoples of this planet was not good. Every religious war, every war on this planet, almost everyone was a religious war, and people killed and maimed and plundered millions of humans in the name of religion.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm not questioning what's in the Bible. I'm questioning why it was forced, because if something is good, nobody has to beat me to accept it. I will know instinctively that it is good, and I take it. Someone from Nigeria said to me back in 1960s, there were 200,000 Christians in Nigeria. And 10 years later, there were 200,000 Christians in Nigeria. Then, listen to this carefully. There was some manipulation of food and there became some scarcity and drought around food. And the only groups of people that had food were the churches. In 4 years, the number of Christians went from 200,000 to 2 million because of food. So people didn't accept the religion because it was good. It was because they were able to get food if they accepted the word and converted.
Right.
So I am saying that I want people who are listening to this to not get upset. Do not have cognitive dissonance about what you're hearing. Do the research
Mhm.
to discount or validate what I am saying.
Yeah. No, yeah, I think so. I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. Look, I do get what you're saying. I mean, look, at this point, one of the questions is the world's real history almost completely erased? Because nobody
Almost,
will ever know anyway, right? That's why everything is really on faith. I do believe that if you just read the Bible, and you may have to read certain things over and over because it's not like anybody can really just comprehend it. Sometimes you have to read it multiple times to understand the message. But I do feel like,
yes,
yeah, but I feel like if you read it on your own before you go like listening to people, because that's one thing I
yes,
definitely agree with you on. That's why I agree with you on the Bible, and I'm sure that it's been
yes,
tweaked, things like that. But what I found was I just got saved in 2023. Um,
yes,
and when I did get saved, I didn't even know anything. I started going to church, but then I realized after a few months of going to church, I still didn't know anything. So I started
yes,
reading the Bible. And as I read the Bible, okay, I started to understand everything. I started to
yes,
understand more. So I feel like and sure, do I know, Paula, there's debates out there like, what do you have to get water baptized and things like that? You brought up an interesting one about Mary's birth and things. And to be honest with you, when you read the Bible, I don't think God even, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think God necessarily cares about that. Like, I don't know if you know what I mean?
exactly. Yes. Let me tell you, I think the Bible is a wonderful guiding document. Just how to live and how to be, right? But what I find, I think a little disturbing about how the organized religions are is that they will not condemn everybody else who is not this and who is not that, you know? So Islam are against Christians, Christians are against Islam, this, that, Buddhists are against the. And really, truly, I think when it all is said and done, really, the quality of the soul, quality of the spirit within you, purity of your heart, the purity of your intention, the purity of your thought, the purity of your words. And that doesn't need,
Hey, Paula, we're having
you
some
know,
there's some technical issues with your audio and your video as well. Can you still hear me okay?
I can hear you well.
Okay, I can hear you now. Okay, good, good, good. Okay, no,
Yeah.
I understand. I missed a little bit of it, but you were going a little bit in and out. Do you want to kind of repeat a little bit what you were saying just now?
Yes. So what I'm saying is that really and truly, we should live from the heart, the love, the kindness, the understanding, the empathy.
I think Paula She probably having some connection issues. She's joining us from Jamaica. Uh, Hopefully she's able to rejoin. We're coming up on about 30 minutes. That's about how much time I think I was going to have her on. But let's see. There we go. There you go. We got you back.
Right. I'm not sure what happened.
No, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. We got you back though. We got you back. Look, I know
Right.
we're on about 30 minutes. I wanted to talk to you about something a little bit more today.
Yes.
Social media. There's a lot of conversations and debates about the impact of social media. You mentioned music as an impact, I think, as a tool. I don't know if you mentioned it here or if I heard it on one of your videos, but you use
Yeah.
that. I know social media is one of those tools that can be, the devil runs the world, right? So
Yes.
go ahead and talk about the tools that are out there, like social media and all of that. Do people have to stay away from social media? Is that what we have to do now?
You know what? Like any other thing in the world, everything is important, right? A knife can be used to peel vegetables and prepare food, and that's going to nourish everyone. But a knife in the wrong hands can also do grievous bodily harm to another person. True? So social media also has many positive benefits. It connects people all over the world who would never normally meet each other. It gets messages that need to be heard out to different people in ways and in a time frame that is unimaginable, right? So what happens is that the world becomes a village through social media.
Mhm.
That's a beautiful thing because it means that in my lifetime I can have 90 friends in my town. With social media, I can connect with 500,000 people. And if my message is good, then 500,000 people would be benefited by my message. Likewise, if the message is skewed or distorted in any way, 500,000, 1.5 million, 9 million people can be affected in a negative way. Now, I think what you were talking about, what I was saying about music
Mhm.
was that we black people, when we hear music, what happen? We dance, right? We it's like medicine to us. Yeah. So with the computerized music, they distorted some beats so that when we created hip hop, it would affect our brain waves and our behavior in a certain way. So the music has been weaponized, if you know what I mean. So what was supposed to be an opportunity for us to dance and become joyful has been a stimulant for violence and crazy, immoral sexual behavior and expectations. Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's media because it is media, which is television and radio, that started the process, and then they inserted social media where we can interact with each other. But some of the drivers are still this kind of music. Yeah? So social media has a place. And look at what you're doing with social media. You are helping people to be able to stand on certain principles to move forward in their lives. So it's up to us to be very selective and discerning about how we use social media, who we allow to permeate our consciousness, and how we curate our social media so that we are growing from it and not being degraded by it.
No, that's you're right about that. And look, I want to make sure that we talk about your retreats. It looks
Yes.
like you've done multiple retreats over the years. Tell the people, do you have another? I know you just got done with the retreat. I believe it ended over the weekend. I
Yes, it
believe
is.
you may have another retreat coming up. I think you're still
Amen.
having some technical issues, but do you want to kind of talk a little bit about your next retreat?
Well, you know what retreats are is an opportunity for you to just escape from your life, come into a nurturing, soft, healing.
Follow your audio.
Oh,
I think you're real choppy right now,
okay. Let's see.
and your videos
How is that? Is that a little better now?
still a little choppy. And your videos froze right now.
Dylan, are you using internet? Can you? Okay. Can you ask Uncle Josh to turn off his as well? Okay. Is that a little better?
I can hear you a little bit. Yeah.
A little better?
Yes. Yes. I think if you just keep talking, I think we'll be able to understand.
Right. So the retreats are based on the fact that there are parts of the world where there's a lot of nature, a lot of water, a lot of forests, and good vibrations. There are some places on the planet like that. Jamaica is one of those. Jamaica is one of those very interesting places. People
All right. Paula, you're on mute right now. You still there? All right. I think Paula's having some technical difficulties. All right. No, this was a good episode. I appreciate Paula Hurlock for joining. Definitely go follow her page. I'm pretty sure you can just Instagram and look her up, Paula Hurlock. Let me make sure I find her actually. Uh, Make sure you subscribe to the Driving Me Sane show. Yeah, Paula Hurlock is her name on Instagram. Make sure you follow her. She's in Jamaica. She just finished up a retreat. We talked a lot about the Bible. We talked about God's kingdom. Hopefully, we were able to touch somebody somewhere. And yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting. Look, and I'm one of those people where, again, man, a lot of what both of we were saying, I agree with. Uh, we let's see if we can get Paula back on.
is that a little better?
Hey Paula, yes, go, yeah. Let's go ahead and tell people a little bit more about your retreat, and we can go ahead and wrap up for this episode.
Right. So my retreats are really just a gentle immersion in the beautiful energy that Jamaica has. It's a beautiful space. I mean, yes, we have a lot of city areas, but when you come to my retreat, I make sure to take you out into the hills, out into the green areas so you can just relax. We get everyone a good massage. We spend a lot of time in meditation. I don't really push any particular um well, how do I put it? Any no particular religion, just the principle of unconditional love, light which is universal. Everybody knows that light is a good thing. When we talk about the Bible says, I am the light of the world. So we know that to bring light into ourselves is filling ourselves with the energy of God. And so we spend a lot of time in silence, a lot of time in meditation. We spend time in the waterfalls, which is in and of itself so nourishing. We connect with the elements, the air, the earth, the fire, the water. We eat good, nourishing vegetarian food for the duration, and we I definitely encourage persons to take the bitter herbs while they're here. The bitter herbs cleanse the liver, the gallbladder, the entire digestive system. It cleanses the blood. And when all of those things are cleansed and the parasites are detoxed, you have greater clarity. People are not making the connection between their health and their spiritual and mental health, right?
Yeah.
When you're devoid of toxins and devoid of parasites, you can enter into the kingdom, right? When the Bible talked about the demons, those were parasites. When people have parasites, they behave differently. They're aggressive, they're angry, and they're they're irrational because their vibration has been lowered by the presence of parasites. So in the Bible, some of the books that were removed speak about detoxing, speak about cleansing, speak about fasting. Those things bring you closer to God. And so that's what we do in our retreats. We really prepare people's vessels to receive high levels of light and love so that they can be shining beacons of love and empathy in the world. So that's what we do on our retreats.
What if everybody did something like that, right? What if everybody did that, right? That'll be a different type of world. Definitely make sure
Yes,
you follow at Paula Hurlock, right? Is that, do I have it right for Instagram? At Paula.
yes, yes, but we should warn your guests that I'm a little bit controversial. So if they follow at their own risk. But the beautiful thing is, when we are living and operating in this world, we should not be closed off. We should remain open because right now, as we speak, there are some truths that are hidden, that are about to come to light. And we're going to be in shock because we've learned in high school and all our education that this was the fact. We're going to now learn that those are not the facts. And we have to prepare ourselves to be open to the possibility that a lot of the things that we have learned were purposely made untrue to get us to behave in a certain way. So I want to just reinforce that fact and encourage everyone to be open and receptive to accepting some new truths in the next 3 months to 3 years, and new truths about absolutely everything. So just remain open.
Remain open. Remain open. Follow at risk.
Yes,
Follow
follow
at
everything.
risk.
I'm not gonna listen. You know me already. I'm gonna tell you the truth. You know, you
You
might
do.
follow for a moment and you might not like it, but the one thing that I try to do is make sure that people search for the truth,
Mhm.
find the truth, and accept the truth when they find it.
Yeah, and you will know. Everybody has the spirit in them. You'll know. Everybody knows rights from wrong.
That's
You
it.
just have to accept
That's
it.
it.
This was really good. I'm gonna make. We got to make sure that we share this. Everybody subscribe, follow. We're obviously spreading good information. If you feel like more people should know about it, definitely share it. Comment what you feel like you want to hear. Follow Paulo as well. Maybe you know somebody who will want to join. Maybe you want to join. Maybe you have never been. Is it going to be in Jamaica, by the way? Is
It's
your
going to be in
is it?
Jamaica next year, March 17 to 21. If you go on my Instagram page, there is a link to sign up or to register for that retreat, right? So you can read it, and if you're like, no, thank you, but read about it first. It's not a religious retreat, it's a spiritual retreat because all humans are spiritual. And what we're trying to do is to get the most pure spiritual aspects of yourself to come to the fore. So that's it.
Sounds fun. Well, I appreciate you joining, Paula. I hope you have a great rest of your evening. Again, look, I appreciate you joining. If you want to come back on, just let me know. We do this again, okay?
Yes, and keep up the good work. And thanks for
Thank
putting up with my unconventional thoughts and opinions.
It's
But you
all
know,
good.
I
I'm
think
open. I'm open to everything. I'm open to
that's
listening.
it.
And you know what you're talking about. You didn't just read something on Wikipedia and then start spewing it. So I appreciate
No,
that as well. You know what you're talking about.
yes,
Paula, you
yes,
have a
yes.
good one. Everybody who's listening, I appreciate you for listening. That's the end of this episode. Have a great night. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.